As Christian men, we are called to surrender our lives to Jesus. To surrender to Jesus means to give in, not to give up. We are called to use our strengths, abilities, and opportunities to grow and prosper. We are called to strengthen ourselves, our families, and our communities. We are called to be disciplined, courageous, and honorable. This is Surrendered Strength. Men, welcome back to another episode of the Surrendered Strength podcast. And it has been an interesting week. The last week or so, it's been, well, when this comes out, it'll be probably over a week since Charlie Kirk was killed. And I've had a lot of thoughts. Personally, I wasn't a huge supporter of Turning Point Charlie Kirk in terms of donating or really watching too much of his stuff other than clips and reels on social media. But just in that little bit, I know that he was a man of faith. He was a wise man. And for a man to stand up for what he believes in and to do what he felt necessary to move the country forward, to help people to see the light, that's hit me hard. That is, something that I don't take lightly, because that's the type of man I want to be. And that's the type of man we all should be inspiring to be. And then to just see what happened and to see everything going on and being said about him, about the shooter, about just everything, the way it's all being portrayed in some places. It's crazy. It's crazy to see. And I wanted to share something with you that really it's a humbling thing to share, and something I shared on a Facebook Live on September 9th, and then Charlie Kirk was killed September 10th. Coincidence? I don't believe in coincidences, but I want to share some things that as men of faith we need to remember. As men of faith, we need to hold on to. Because the reality is every one of us is going through some type of challenge. And we all have plans. And the reality is they're not going as planned. Maybe for some of you in certain areas, they're going as planned right now. But that's not always going to be the case. In our marriage, in relationships, or friendships, business, health, life, things are not always going to go as we plan and as we expect. So I want to share just 3 things that I shared with on a Facebook Live about a week ago, to encourage you, to remind you that just because your plans aren't going as planned doesn't mean your life isn't going as planned. I'll say that again. Just because your plans aren't going as planned doesn't mean your life isn't going as planned. You have to remember that there is a greater plan in place for you. There is a better plan in place for you. We can plan all we want, but God's plan is greater. And no matter what's happening in your life, in your business, in your marriage, in your health, don't have to worry. And this doesn't take away. I'm not saying it's not going to be painful. It's going to be painful. Your wife wanting to separate from you or divorce you is painful. A a coworker or a friend turning its back on you is painful. Your business beginning to fail or to not take off is painful. Finding out you have cancer or some other illness and disease is painful. Experiencing a death is painful. All these things are painful. But the pain doesn't mean God's not there. It doesn't mean God's plan isn't being worked out. The pain just reminds you that you're alive in a broken world. So there's three things I want to share with you relating to this topic and relating to the broken world we live in and relating to the struggles that you may be dealing with right now. So the first one, and again, this is crazy that I shared this the ninth and the events on the 10th happened with Charlie. And so the first one is fatal is not final. With God, fatal is not final. Now, again, I didn't know much about Charlie Kirk, but I knew he was a man of God. He was a man of faith. And I have no doubt that he is in heaven now. Because I believe that fatal is not final with God. When we die on this earth, our bodies are done, but our spirit will live on. And we will continue. And as men of faith, you need to believe this too. Death is not final. Our death, the death of a spouse, a child, yes, all very painful. All very painful. And I've watched people endure the death of a spouse, the death of a child. And I don't know how they do it outside of God. And I can't imagine going through that. But at the same time, we have to remember fatal is not final with God. Which moves us into the next thing. The end is only the beginning with God. The end of our life is only the beginning of what is to come with God. It's only the beginning of us moving into our glory. The end of a relationship is only the beginning of what God has planned for me next. The end of a business is only the beginning of what God has planned for you next. So don't be discouraged when something ends, even a marriage, even a business, even a life. It's only the end for now. And once the end is done, it is a beginning, a new beginning. Again, there's going to be pain. Jesus didn't say you're going to live a pain-free, troubleless life. He said you will have troubles. In James 1, it says, count it all joy when you suffer. Continue to trust God. Continue to have faith. You will suffer, but hold on to God. Hold on to God's promises and know that the end, whatever the end may be, is only the beginning. Working in law enforcement, I see so many people and hear of so many men specifically who take their own life just because a relationship didn't work out, just because a girlfriend dumped them, just because a wife divorces them. They take their own life. Your life is way more important than a simple relationship, than a marriage. And I say that with having my own marital struggles and having my wife want to leave me. The end is just a new beginning. Hold on to that while you're walking in your faith with God. And lastly, your plan falling apart is God's plan coming together. We tend to struggle with the fact that our life isn't going as planned. We have this idea of what life should look like. And when it doesn't work out, we think our life is ending. We think our life is falling apart. And maybe it is. But God's plan for your life is coming together. And this reminds me of a video from Jocko. And he's talking about people that he worked for or worked with would come to him and say, "Oh, this is a problem. This is a problem." He would say, "Good." And anytime he had an issue or struggle or trouble, he would just say, "Good." And this is exactly what we can do with God. Whether, again, it's in a marriage, a relationship, business, health, life in general. When we come to any trial, when we come to any trouble, we can say, "Good. God's got this. Good. God is working all of this out." So, men, do not be troubled. I get it. There's going to be pain. Whether it's the end of a life, an end of an opportunity, an end of a marriage or relationship, there will be pain. But the end is just the beginning, and your plans falling apart are just God's plans coming together. And remember, fatal is not final. So hold on to these truths. Because if you're not in a time of struggle now, you will be. It's only a matter of time. But God is working everything out for those who love Him. So I encourage you to just hold on. Continue to walk in your faith. You will feel pain. You will feel doubt. You will struggle. But have faith. Trust God and keep moving forward in your faith. Because God is moving in ways that you don't even see. God is working things out that you don't even know. You don't even know problems that you're going to have that God's already working through it, already working it out. So, man, I just encourage you, continue to walk forward in faith. Don't be paralyzed by fear. And I've been there. Allow God to do what God is going to do. Even when it feels like your life is falling apart, all your plans aren't working out, God's just putting all the pieces together where they need to be. And He is just building you up. He is setting you up for success when you trust in Him. And then if you are struggling, I would encourage you to reach out to me on social media, surrender.strength on Instagram, Facebook. Just message me. Let me know what you're struggling with. And I'll pray for you. I will guide you, help you in any way I can help. You are not alone in your walk in faith. God bless. Thanks for listening. Connect with me on Instagram and Facebook at Surrendered Strength. Be sure to subscribe, like, and share, and live the Surrendered Strength Code. Discipline, courage, honor.